Hello, people. It's the women's draw preview and prediction video for the US Open. And look, before we get into it, I have to say one thing. This is absolute carnage. Some of these first round matches are just, they could be Grand Slam finals. I'm not even joking when I say that. We've got Grand Slam finalists. Sorry, let me rephrase. We've got Grand Slam champions playing each other in round one of this US Open. And not just one instance, multiple instances. And on top of that, we have, I would say, 7 first round matches that are just going to be an absolute pleasure to watch. So you know what? I am extremely happy because the women's side of the draw for the US Open is, look, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's probably going to be one of those tournaments where the seeds just drop like flies potentially, but it's going to be damn entertaining. And on top of that, there's just so much intrigue. Coco Gauff is the defending champion, but she hasn't been in fantastic form in the last few months anyway. Iga Swiatek, right? She's got a little bit of heartbreak after not getting the gold medal at the Olympics on clay, her favorite surface. Yes, she won the US Open a couple of years back, but hard court isn't her best surface. She lost to Sabalenka recently in Cincinnati, and it was pretty convincing as well. That semi-final loss. Then you have Sabalenka, right? Won the Australian Open at the start of the year. Didn't look incredible, up until now recently. Then just won Cincinnati. She's in good form. Can she follow it through? You got Rybakina. How fit is she? What is she going to look like form-wise going into it? You've got then dark horses or people who are just kind of floating around. Could they do something? Osaka. We saw a glimpse against Swiatek at the French Open. Could she potentially make a deep run here? Look, I mean, Pegula, for example, as well. Maybe the final of Cincinnati. Can she carry that through? There's just so many players on the women's tour. And I could talk about this for hours, but I'm going to try and stick to script, or at least stick to what I'm supposed to be talking about. So, this is how we're going to break it down. We're going to very briefly talk about the projected quarterfinals. Then I will talk to you guys about, about a path to the final for 3 of the players. So I think it's Swiatek, Sabalenka, and Gauff, so the top 3 seeds. I will talk to you about what their path could look like to the final in terms of projected seeds in each round. And then what I'll do is I will do a prediction and preview of the whole draw. So we'll go through each and every single match. I'll pick my winner, and then we'll work our way towards the final, where I'll pick my winner for the last Grand Slam of the year. So there is a lot to dissect. There is a lot to get into. I cannot wait to. Before we do, though, remember to that like button. Do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. On top of that, if you are a member, we appreciate you guys so much. You guys are all legends, honestly. So thank you so much. Okay. Right. Let's get into this. So, the projected quarterfinals, which, again, take them with a pinch of salt, are Swiatek versus Pegula, which I think would be a really good match on hard court. Currently, I don't see Swiatek being the beast that she was on hard court for the majority of the last 2 years. I do think the transition from clay to hard court is going to be a little bit tougher for her, if I'm being honest. Sabalenka obviously didn't play on hard court. She missed the Olympics, as did Rybakina. And Pegula didn't go particularly far, so didn't have to adjust as much, I would say. Krejcikova Gauff is the other projected quarterfinal in the US Open women's singles. I mean, look, Krejcikova, Wimbledon champion, she's another player who'll be floating about. how's she going to do on hard courts. She obviously didn't go super deep in the singles, but did really well in the doubles at the Olympics, or got far anyway. Didn't manage to obviously win it, but definitely progressed far. And she'll be looking to follow up now on that momentum at Wimbledon and really drive home that she is a force to be reckoned with at the US Open. Rybakina Paolini is another quarterfinal. That would be fantastic. Paolini, of course, has made back-to-back Grand Slam finals at Wimbledon and Roland Garros. She'd be looking to make it third time lucky potentially, and made the US Open final and even go on to win her maiden Grand Slam title. Rybakina, of course, hasn't won a Grand Slam title since 2022 when she won her first, which was Wimbledon, beating Jabeur in the final in a 3-set encounter. Then we have Aryna Sabalenka versus Zheng Qinwen, which would be an entertaining quarterfinal as well. Zheng Qinwen, of course, has made a final of a slam. And we've also got Aryna Sabalenka, who played her in that slam at the Australian Open earlier this year. And Sabalenka has won 2 hardcourt Grand Slams, both at the Australian Open. She'll be looking to go one better than she did last year when she lost in the final to Coco Gauff. She is arguably, and I would probably say, in my opinion, she is the best hardcourt player on tour. That's how I see it. You can fight me in the comment section if you want, but I think it's probably true for the last 2 years. And that's me, obviously, taking into account Grand Slams, right? Not just other tournaments. So, yeah, look, she is, in my opinion, probably the favourite. Whether I pick her to win, we'll see as we get through the draw. In terms of path to the final, so let's talk about Coco Gauff, the defending champion. She plays Krejcikova in the first round. Then she potentially plays Tatiana Maria in round 2, Svitolina in round 3, which would be a tough round 3. Navarro in round 4, which is even tougher because Navarro beat Gauff at Wimbledon and pretty convincingly as well. Then Krejcikova, which would be again very tough, right? Just newly crowned Wimbledon champion in a quarterfinal. Then Sabalenka in the semi-finals and Swiatek in the final. I mean, if she does have to play the projected players in her draw, I mean, look, it's going to be a very tough ask, if I'm being honest. Very tough ask. But as is the case, well, not just the women's side, but the men's side. But I think especially on the women's side, given some of the players who are unseeded, especially, it could easily be completely different, her route to a final, in all honesty. For Sabalenka, she plays a qualifier in round 1, then Lulu Sun potentially in round 2, which could be dangerous, of course. Lulu Sun made a really good run at Wimbledon this year. Alexandrova round 3, an explosive player, could be potentially an issue for Sabalenka. Madison Keys round 4, again, a pretty tough opponent. Zheng Qinwen quarterfinals. Even though it's a tough opponent, I think style-wise, probably not too tough for Sabalenka. Coco Gauff semi-finals, which would be tough, and Swiatek final, which, of course, again, would be a difficult prospect. Then, if we go to the world number 1, Iga Swiatek. So she has a qualifier in round 1. And then she has Andreescu in round 2. Pavlyuchenkova in round 3. Samsonova in round 4. And I tell you what, her route's pretty good. First 4 rounds, I think she gets through. I know Samsonova can be difficult. It could be a tricky one, but I think she gets through that. Really only gets difficult at Pegula at round 4. Pegula at the quarterfinal stage. Rybakina semi-finals. I mean, we know that she struggles with Rybakina, but how's Rybakina going to be? Is she even going to make it that far? I don't know. It's difficult because we don't really know conditioning-wise what is she going to be like, and form-wise, it's difficult. She hasn't played recently. A lot of tennis, and then Sabalenka in the final. So, look, I mean, I would argue that out of the top 3 seeds, I think Swiatek has the easiest route. I mean, Rybakina lost to Leylah Fernandez in the first round at Cincinnati, a tight one, but she hasn't played any tennis since Wimbledon, apart from that one match at Cincinnati. So I don't know. I don't know, in all honesty. I think it's going to be interesting, and it's difficult. It's difficult. So she hasn't played a lot of practice sessions just before the US Open. Apparently, she's been absent at a lot of them. So there are some rumors that she could pull out. She hasn't as of yet, from what I know. So let's see. Hopefully, she doesn't, because we just had news that Ons Jabeur had pulled out, which is a massive shame, by the way. A huge shame. The Tunisian, of course, has not had. She hasn't had a great run of form or injury or bill of health, even you'd say, since the Wimbledon final last year, where she lost to Rybakina. It's just not been. It's just not been great for her. It really hasn't, and this is a big shame because she's made 3 Grand Slam finals, hasn't quite been able to get over the line. I think the 2 Wimbledon finals were winnable against Rybakina and Andreescu, the final against Swiatek, you could say fine, fair enough. She lost it convincingly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's next for Ons. She obviously has an issue with it's just a shoulder injury that she has. I know that she's battered. I don't know if it is a shoulder injury that is always going to be an issue, but that she has some chronic injury that she deals with throughout her career, or has done. So I think it might be her knee. And you do wonder whether, unfortunately, the chance has slipped away for her to win a slam in her career. But let's see. Anyway, let's get into the draw. So, as you can see, there's a few blank spaces. Those are qualifiers. Qualifying is still going on. And unfortunately, apart from Wimbledon, every other Grand Slam qualifying finishes right before the main draw starts. So it's almost impossible to wait for all the qualifiers to get picked. I do love qualifying. I love qualifiers. I don't underestimate them, but we are going to make the assumption that they're not going to get through their first round matches. And that tends to be the case for the majority of them. So hoping it doesn't warp this draw or this bracket too much anyways. Okay, so Iga Swiatek is the top seed, and she has a qualifier, as does Daria Seville. Cocciaretto and Bando in the first round. We're going for Cocciaretto. Preston plays Pavlyuchenkova. Preston, a wild card from Australia. We're going to go for Pavlyuchenkova to win that one. The Mira, Andreeva, and Osorio. That's a good first round match. I think Andreeva will get through it, though. Then Zhang and Kruger will go for Kruger. Buskova has a qualifier. Wang, Zhang, and Samsonova for me. And then an all-American affair in Danielle Collins and Caroline Dollarhide. We will go for Danielle Collins. Buxa and Sarah Arani. Buxa. I just don't think Sarah Arani is the singles player that she used to be, that's for sure. Towson to beat Schmidlova for me, and Schneider to beat Podoroska. Bolter has a qualifier. Martic to beat Monero. And look, here we go. This is where it starts to get tasty. Raducanu and Sofia Kenin. I mean, what a ridiculous first round. Both Grand Slam champions, and they face off against each other. Both single Grand Slam champions. Both won when they were very young. I mean, it's a 50-50. I think Raducanu will take it, but I'm not convinced, that's for sure. Pegula and Rogers, another All-American affair. A tough one for Pegula for a first round. Shelby Rogers is an explosive player, and it could be pretty... Yeah, I mean, it could be pretty tricky, in honesty. So, yeah, we'll go for Pegula. Rybakina does play a qualifier. And then we've got Mertens and Zheng Sasei. Go for Mertens, I think, there. Wozniacki has a qualifier, and Garcia plays Zarazua. We'll go for Garcia. Helen Mayer to beat Avanasian, and Alexa Knoll plays Cerberus Tormo. Go for Cerberus Tormo. Perrin to beat Bondar and Kalinskaya to beat Lauren Davis. Well, that's a tough first round for Kalinskaya. Lauren Davis is no slouch. And then here we go. We get into the absolute madness that is Naomi Osaka versus Yelena Ostapenko, which is arguably the first round match and the popcorn match of not just the women's side or the women's draw, but the men's draw as well. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. We have four-time Grand Slam champion in Osaka playing former French Open champion in Ostapenko. Ostapenko, of course, seeded 10. Osaka is unseeded. You know what? I'm actually going to go big here. I'm going to go Osaka. I know since that loss to Swiatek in the second round of Roland Garros, she hasn't quite shown that type of form again. But I do think on a hard court, I don't even think she needs to play 100%. I think she needs to play at maybe 70%. I think it'll be enough against Ostapenko on a hard court, that is. However, Ostapenko has been playing some really good tennis. You know, Wimbledon, she played some good tennis. And I think on a hard court, she'll fancy it. But I just see Osaka getting the win. Mukova plays volley nets. Volley nets, I watched her in qualifying, interviewed her at Wimbledon, and clearly very driven, very young player from America. And she was very close to, beating Krejcikova at Wimbledon. I mean, she had a tiebreak opportunity anyway, and definitely was playing some really solid tennis. Mukova is a tricky opponent. It should be a very entertaining match. I think Mukova might be too varied for volley nets, but it depends on what Karina Mukova turns up and how fit she is. We'll go with the former Roland Garros champion, former Roland Garros finalist. Kvitova to beat Qualifier and Fernandez to beat Potapova for me. Noskova to beat Potentseva, the seed. I'm going to go for a slight upset there in unseeded Noskova from Czech Republic. Wang Jinyu to beat Qualifier, and then we're going to go for Pliskova to beat Maya Sharif Ahmed Abdelaziz. I think she must have got married because her name has got doubly long. Andreescu plays Paolini. That is a fantastic first round match as well. I mean, look, Paolini's run has been incredible in the last few months. She made the final of the French Open and Wimbledon, and Andreescu is a former US Open champion. So, I mean, not really much else to say there apart from I think Paolini would look at that draw or look at her draw and say, damn, this is a really unfortunate draw. I'd like to think Andreescu would potentially get through it, but her form tells me otherwise recently, if I'm being frank. And it's been a little bit disappointing. I think in Montreal, or I think it would have been, let's just say the National Bank Open, because I always get confused whether they're in Toronto or Montreal. She lost to Sarenko, who, I mean, she shouldn't be losing to. She bageled her in the first set and then lost the next two. Cincinnati, she lost to Avanesian in straight sets. Her form tells me that she won't be in great form. I'm going to go for Paolini. Krejcikova plays a qualifier. Grabber plays a qualifier. Trevisan, Townsend. I'm going to go for Townsend to beat Trevisan. Badosa to beat Golubic. Azarenka, the hard court queen, to be a qualifier. And then Stevens versus Burrell. Go for Stevens. Parry to beat Wang Zhiyu. And Sakari to beat Wang Yafan. Or Yafan, sorry, even. Navarro and Blinkova, really good matchup. I'm going to go for Navarro there. And Bogdan to beat Rus. Harriet Dart to beat Paquette, sorry, even. And Kostyuk to beat Kessler. Svitolina to beat Carla. Dodin to beat Kalinina. Yeah. Maria to beat Qualifier. And Gauff to beat Krejcikova. Not an easy first round. And then another one. Here we go. Another explosive first round. Here we are. Zheng Xinwen versus Amanda Anisimova. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. I mean, I'm going to go for... Anisimova's been in great form in Washington. Zheng Xinwen has also had a breakthrough year so far. It's a tough one to call, in honesty. I'm going to go for Nisimova to cause the upset. I'm going to go for it. Erika Andreeva and Wan Yu. I mean, look, Zheng Xinwen has just come off winning the gold in the Olympics, right? So she will have to transition from clay to hardcore. It's going to be difficult. And it can work one of two ways. Either high winning the Olympic gold or really just completely catapult her at this US Open, and she'll make a really deep run and she'll get used to the surface. But I just think the first round of Anisimova is not a first round where she can just really feel her way into the draw. She has to start playing some really good tennis, and I don't know if she's going to find that level straight away. Andreeva and Wan Yu, we're going to go for Wan Yu. And this is Erika Andreeva, by the way. Korpach and Uchima, we're going to go for Uchima. Yastremska to beat Niemia. Vekic to play a qualifier. We'll go for Vekic, of course. Newly minted silver medalist and Wimbledon semi-finalist as well. Frank to beat Minan and Stearns beat Sarenko. Kazakina to beat Christian and Keys beat Siniakova, I think. Sigmund and Tomjanovic both play qualifiers. Ons Jabeur is out of the draw, so she'll be replaced by a lucky loser. So we'll go for Kudermetova to beat whoever that will be. Alexandrova and Tomo will go for Alexandrova, and Lynette to beat Jovic. Lulu Sanam to go to beat Bronzetti, and Sabalenka to beat a qualifier. So let's go to the second round. Iga Swiatek has Daria Saville in the second round. We'll go for Iga Swiatek. Pavlyuchenkova to beat Kochiretto, and Mira Andreeva to beat Kruger. Samsonova to beat Buskova, and Daniel Collins to beat Buxer. I'm going to go for Towson and Schneider, two very talented young. Yeah, I mean, look, they're both really exciting young talents, Towson and Schneider. I'm going to go for Towson, actually. I just have a feeling she might be able to edge that one. Bolton to beat Martic. And then Raducanu and Pegula is a really... Raducanu's route is shocking. First round of Kenin and then Pegula second round. I mean, she has got no chance, has she? She's got no chance to try and replicate that 2021 run. I mean, this is tough. This is a tough ask. I don't think I can pick Raducanu. I think you have to go... I think Pegula she just hits too... I think she hits too strong a ball from the back of the court. Both wins for Raducanu, I think. And not just too big a ball, but just the consistency as well from Pegula from the back of the court. Especially on a hard court, I think it's really difficult for Raducanu to match that ball quality. Rybakina and Mertens, I think Rybakina, but I'm going to be quite cautious, I think, with my picks for her because I'm not sure. She hasn't been practicing. She lost in the first round of Cincinnati. I think I'm now starting to get a feeling that she might pull out or she might not play, for example, one of the first few rounds. Even if she does make it, is she carrying an injury? I'm not sure. Caroline Garcia, who took a break after the Olympics. Interesting to see how she gets on in her second round against Wozniacki. That'd be an interesting one. I'm actually going to go for Wozniacki to cause the upset. I think she's been playing a little bit on hard court before the US Open. I think Garcia might be a little bit cold after taking the break. It's good that Garcia took the break. I think she's had an interesting year, probably not the one that she would have liked in terms of results. But, I think for Garcia, it's about resetting, trying to tinker, and then look forward to 2025, I think, really. I don't see her winning any titles this year, but you never know. She could prove me wrong. I'm going to go to beat Sribas Tormo. I mean, this could be another 4-hour match. These two have played some absolutely ridiculously long matches. I'm kind of scared to beat Pera. And then we've got Osaka Mukova. We'll go for Osaka there. Fernandez to beat Favitsova. And then Nosko to beat Wang. That's Wang Jinyu. Pliskova and Paolini for me. Krejcikova to beat Grabber and Badosa to beat Townsend, although Townsend has a real chance there, by the way. Badosa's been playing some strong tennis, but Townsend has herself as well. And I think she does really well with the American crowds. Azarenka and Stevens, a former US Open champion, of course. And Azarenka, also hardcourt Grand Slam champion as well. So look, I mean, Azarenka, I always say when it comes to the start and the end of the year, she just start her chart of form is like this. She's at the top the start of the year during the Australian Open, etc. And then she dips to when it comes. She dips a little bit, not a huge amount, but she does dip. The clay and the grass, and then it's like whoop back up as the US Open begins or the North American swing begins. So I'm actually going to go for Azarenka to beat Stevens here. It'll be an interesting one because Azarenka will be aggressive. Stevens will try and soak it up. It'll be a good clash of styles. Sakari and Paragraph for Sakari. Navarro to beat Bogdan. Kostyuk to beat Dart. Svitolina to beat Dodin. And Gauff to beat Maria. Anisimova to beat Wan Yu. And Yastremska to beat Uchima. Vekic even to beat Freck. And Kazakina to beat Stearns. Keys to beat Sigmund, and Kudermetova to beat Tomjanovic. For me, I'm going to go for Linette to cause the upset and beat the 29th seed and Alexandrova, and then Sabalenka to beat Lulu Sun. Swiatek to beat Pavlyuchenkova for me in round 3. Mira Andreeva, Samsonova is a good one. That's a very good one, actually. We have a Samsonova on a hard court. Daniel Collins to beat Clara Towson. Pegula to beat Bolter. I'm going to go Wozniacki to beat Rybakina. I'm just not seeing this deep run from Rybakina. I'm hoping we get it, but I have a lot of doubts around it. Halid Meir to beat Kalinskaya. Osaka Fernandez. That would be a really good match, by the way, in terms of style. Counterpuncher of Fernandez versus attacking, big hitting Osaka. Okay. I'm going to go for Osaka. Noskova and Paolini. Excuse me. I'm going to go for Noskova. Bit of a brave pick, isn't it? I'm going to go for it. Badosa to beat Krejcikova, another brave pick by me. But you know what? We're doing it. We're doing it because the WTA Tour and anyone can be anyone. Azarenka, Sakari. Azarenka. Wait, guys. I've just dumped out 3 of the top 10 seeds in back-to-back matches. But oh well. Navarro to beat Kostyuk. Gauff to beat Svitolina. Anisimova to beat Yastremska. Vekic Kazakina. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. Will Vekic be a bit burnt out? It's been a lot of tennis on 2 different surfaces, and now it'll be a third one. Kazakina. She's a tricky opponent. We'll go for Vekic, though. We'll go for the form. Keys even to beat Kudermetova, and Sabalenka to beat Linette. I don't see Linette troubling Sabalenka. Swiatek Samsonova. This could be a potential banana skin. Samsonova is very solid, but I'm going to go for Swiatek. Collins Pegula will be really fun to watch, actually. Very, very fun All-American match. Collins could blow Pegula off the court. She could, but I'm going to go Pegula. Then we have Wozniacki and Haddad Meir. It's an interesting one, because Wozniacki is a bit of a counterpuncher, of course, and as is really Haddad Meir. And then it's like, okay, who's going to make the more errors? Who's going to be able to edge the points? It's difficult to know, in honesty. I'm going to go for Wozniacki. Then Osaka and Noskova. Osaka. Badosa Azarenka. Badosa. Navarro Gauff. I mean, that's such a hard 4th round for Gauff. She hasn't made it past the 4th round, I don't think, in a while. Navarro just seems hungry, doesn't she? She also lost quite early at the Olympics as well. Just wondering whether she might feel a bit fresher than Gauff. Do I go for the defending champ to lose in round 4? Yeah. I go for Navarro to go back-to-back against Gauff. And Anisimova Vekic, I mean, two massive hitters. That will be a really entertaining match if we get it. I'm going to go for Anisimova there. And Sabalenka to beat Keys. So, quarterfinals I've gone for Swiatek Pegula, Wozniacki Osaka, Badosa Navarro, and Anisimova Sabalenka. So the only quarterfinal that matches the projected one or projected ones that we talked about earlier is Swiatek and Pegula. I'm actually going to go for Pegula to beat Swiatek. I'm not convinced about Swiatek and her form and also transitioning from different surfaces. And I just think mentally the Olympics took a lot out of her as well, in my opinion. Then Wozniacki and Osaka, that is a crazy quarterfinal, by the way. I don't think we're going to see that. Well, I picked it anyway, but I don't know how I've got there. That's very, very random. Just because both players obviously have both had children, they've come back, and they have shown some glimpses of some good form, but I don't think they've shown quarterfinal potential. But I'm going big, I guess. So why not keep on going big and pick Osaka to beat Wozniacki? And then Badosa Navarro, that's a good one for me. I just think this might be one step too far for Navarro, so I'm going to go for Badosa. And then Sabalenka and Anisimova is a great matchup. I love it. I really do. It's just so explosive. I'm going to go for Sabalenka. Then we've got Pegula and Osaka and Badosa and Sabalenka. I'm going to go for Pegula to beat Osaka. I don't see Osaka making the final. I'm pretty brave to even pick her to make the semifinals, I think, is fair to say. I think most people will agree with me. She's got a very tough first round, and number 10 seed, and Ostapenko could easily beat her. And then Badosa and Sabalenka is a tough one for Sabalenka, but I think she gets through it. She tends to edge that matchup with Badosa anyway. So we're going to go for a Sabalenka and Pegula final. And I'm going to go for Sabalenka, which I think a lot of people might be going for, to win her third Grand Slam title, her first US Open title, and her second Grand Slam title of the year. So let me know in the comment section below who you picked and why. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you in the next video.